In the heart of a bustling African village, where the sun painted golden hues across the sprawling savanna and the community thrived on stories passed down through generations, there lived a man named Kwame. He was a well-respected member of his tribe, known for his wisdom and quiet strength. Kwame's home was filled with the laughter and love of his wife Ama, who was as beautiful as the sunrise that greeted the villagers each morning. However, beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect marriage, Kwame harbored a growing unease. Whispers had begun to swirl around the village, carried by the winds that rustled through the baobab trees. These whispers spoke of Ama's laughter echoing a little too brightly in the company of another man, a trader who frequently visited the village. Kwame, feeling the weight of betrayal but needing to know the truth, devised a plan that was as unconventional as it was risky. He decided to pretend to be blind, believing that his feigned vulnerability would reveal Ama's true colors. "A blind man sees more than he tells," he muttered to himself as he began to put his plan into action. With the help of his close friend Jabari, Kwame started to act the part of a blind man convincingly. He wore dark glasses and walked with a cane, tapping his way through the village with a practiced uncertainty. To the outside observer, it was a sudden misfortune that had struck him, but his community rallied around him with support and sympathy. As days turned into weeks, Kwame's heart grew heavy with sorrow. Not only did he have to navigate the world in darkness, but he also had to listen with sharpened senses to the undercurrents of his wife's possible infidelity. Ama, for her part, played the role of a devoted wife, her care for Kwame seemingly unwavering. She guided his steps, her hands gentle but firm, her voice always soothing. Yet as Kwame immersed himself in his role, he noticed subtle changes. The lingering pauses in Ama's speech when the trader's name was mentioned, the hurried way she rearranged her schedule around his visits, and the faint scent of a foreign cologne that clung to her clothes after she returned from the market. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the village slowly surrendered to the embrace of night, Kwame sat in the shadowed corner of their hut, feigning sleep. Ama believed him to be lost in dreams, unaware of the world around him. That night, he heard the soft whisper of his door curtain as it fluttered open and the hushed tones of Ama speaking with someone. Their voices were low, but the silence of the night amplified their words. Kwame's heart raced as he listened to the laughter and tender exchanges that confirmed his worst fears. The pain of betrayal cut deep, but he needed more proof. Something undeniable. Determined to confront the truth with his own eyes, Kwame planned to reveal his deception at the upcoming village gathering, where stories were told, disputes were settled, and truths came to light under the ancient baobab tree. It would be there, he decided, that he would open his eyes and see the world clearly once again, exposing the deception for all to witness. As dawn broke over the village, Kwame prepared himself for what was to come. The path ahead was fraught with heartache and confrontation, but he knew he must walk it. For the truth was a companion that no shadow could obscure. As the village awoke to a new day, the air was charged with anticipation. Today was the day of the grand gathering under the baobab, a time-honored tradition where the elders shared wisdom and the community bonded over tales of yore and present. Kwame, his heart a cauldron of turmoil, prepared himself with the solemnity of a man walking into a storm. He arrived at the gathering, his dark glasses hiding eyes that saw all too clearly. The villagers greeted him with nods and murmurs of sympathy, their voices a tapestry of concern and curiosity. Ama was by his side, her presence a balm that no longer soothed but burned with the sting of betrayal. As the elders began their storytelling, weaving narratives of ancestors and spirits, Kwame felt the weight of his own story pressing against his chest. He listened to the rhythmic beat of drums and the melodic flow of the elders' voices, each word echoing the depth of tradition and the sacredness of truth. Ama, sensing the change in the air, clung tighter to Kwame's arm. Her touch, once a source of comfort, now felt like the closing weave of a net. In the periphery of his feigned blindness, Kwame noticed the trader. The man was a picture of unease, his eyes darting between Ama and the blind guise of Kwame. As the sun climbed higher, casting long shadows under the baobab, the moment Kwame had been preparing for approached. The current tale ended, leaving a hush over the crowd, a canvas of silence ready for new strokes. Kwame slowly stood up, his figure casting a long shadow across the gathered villagers. Clearing his throat, he began to speak. His voice was steady, each word deliberate, carrying the weight of unspoken truths. In our lands, we hold the virtue of sight in high esteem, not just the sight granted by the eyes, but also the insight offered by the heart, he began, his words flowing into the hushed air of expectation. The heart sees when the eyes cannot, and today, mine has seen enough to shatter the silence. His revelation hung over the crowd, a thunderclap that silenced even the breeze. Kwame took off his glasses, his eyes roaming over the stunned faces of his fellow villagers, stopping on Amma and the trader, whose discomfort was now palpable. Amma's eyes widened in shock, her hand falling away from Kwame's arm as if scorched. The trader stepped back, his movements awkward, the guilt written across his face as clearly as the stories etched on the baobab bark. Kwame continued, his voice no longer just his own, but the voice of every heart ever scorned by betrayal. We are a people of integrity, and today I seek to restore what has been tarnished, not through retribution, but through the revelation of truth. The villagers listened, rapt, as Kwame recounted his suspicions, his decision to feign blindness, and his observations. With each word, the air grew denser, the gravity of his narrative pulling at the very fabric of the community. As he concluded, no immediate judgments were voiced. The impact of his words was like the slow absorption of rain by thirsty ground, deep and silent. The elders looked to one another, wisdom their guide as they contemplated this breach of trust within their midst. The gathering under the baobab, usually a place of unity and celebration, had transformed into a forum of unveiling and reckoning. Yet even as the weight of the moment bore down upon all present, the wind seemed to carry a whisper of healing, a reminder that even the deepest wounds could find their mend in the honesty and courage of a heartfelt confession. As the silence stretched beneath the ancient baobab, the air thick with the weight of Kwame's revelations, the village felt the shift. This was no ordinary gathering. It was a moment carved into the memory of the tribe, where the fabric of their community was tested and transformed. Kwame stood, his gaze lingering on each face before him, his stance resolute yet weary from the burden of his charade. Amma, now a solitary figure amid the sea of her kin, faced the crowd. Her eyes, once the mirrors of joy and mischief, now reflected a tumult of regret and fear. The trader on the fringes seemed a shadow, diminished by the light of truth unveiled. As the elders conferred in hushed tones, a murmur ran through the crowd like a wind through tall grass. Conversations sparked and sizzled as the villagers grappled with the revelation. The elders, wise as the seasons, finally turned to address the assembly, their voices a blend of authority and compassion. Today, we have witnessed the pain of betrayal, but also the strength of a heart seeking truth, the chief elder spoke, his voice resonating with the age-old wisdom of their ancestors. Let us not forget that each sunrise brings with it a chance for redemption and renewal. The assembly absorbed these words, as roots take in nourishment from the soil. Amma stepped forward, her movements hesitant but necessary. Standing before the assembly, she spoke, her voice a mere whisper at first, growing stronger with each word. I have wronged my husband, my soulmate, and my tribe, she confessed, her words carving sorrow in the hearts of her listeners. Blinded by folly, I endangered the sacred bonds that have held our families together through countless seasons. The trader too found the courage to add his voice to the confession, admitting his role in the betrayal and expressing his remorse. I have trespassed against a brother and a friend, he said, his voice laden with regret. I seek forgiveness from all I have wronged and vow to restore the honor I have besmirched. In the wake of these confessions, the villagers, guided by the wisdom of their elders, began a discussion not just about the betrayal but about forgiveness and the pathways to healing. Old stories were invoked, tales of mistakes made and rectified, of the community's capacity to heal even the deepest of scars. The sun continued its arc across the sky, casting long shadows around the baobab, the tree under which truths were told and fates were forged. The discussion wove through many aspects of life and tradition, touching upon the values that held their society together: trust, integrity, and the resilience of the human spirit. As the gathering drew to a close, no definitive judgments were pronounced. Instead, a space was created for Amma and the trader to prove their sincerity through actions, not just words. Kwame, his heart a battleground of hurt and hope, chose the path of forgiveness, deciding to rebuild the trust that had been shattered, though he knew the process would be like the slow nurturing of a new plant. The villagers dispersed as the sun set, the sky painted in strokes of orange and red, reflecting the fiery trials and the warmth of potential reconciliation. The baobab stood silent, a witness to the trials and transformations of the day, its branches stretching towards the heavens as if to embrace the lessons learned under its vast canopy. Days melded into weeks as the village pulsated with the rhythms of daily life, each sunrise bringing with it the promise of new beginnings and the challenges of forgiveness. Kwame, with a heart still tender yet open to mending, embarked on this path with a quiet resolve, his steps measured and his eyes more observant of the subtle shifts around him. In the cool of the early mornings, he and Amma would walk through the dew-laden fields, their conversations a delicate dance of words and silences. Each word Amma spoke was a petal of her remorse, each silence a space for Kwame to plant understanding. It was during these walks that the couple slowly started weaving a tapestry of renewed trust, each thread a testament to their willingness to mend the frayed edges of their union. Meanwhile, the trader, seeking to restore his standing within the community, dedicated himself to the service of the village. His hands, once used for personal gain, now worked for communal benefit, helping to repair the worn paths and refresh the wells. His transformation was visible to all, his actions a constant ripple in the once still waters of his past transgressions. The elders observed these efforts, their aged eyes missing nothing. They facilitated discussions and mediated moments of tension, their wisdom a guiding light. In the evenings, they would gather the younger members of the tribe, sharing stories of the past that mirrored the present, teaching them the importance of integrity and the strength found in forgiveness. As the season of harvest approached, the village prepared for the Festival of Thanks, a celebration of bounty and community spirit. This year, the festival held a deeper significance, symbolizing not just the harvest of the fields, but also the reaping of personal growth and communal harmony. Decorations adorned every home, and the air buzzed with the preparations. Amma took charge of organizing the festival's feast, her enthusiasm a bright flame that drew others to her. Her efforts did not go unnoticed, her dedication a balm to the wounds of the past months. With each dish prepared and each decoration hung, she wove herself back into the fabric of the village, her spirit alight with the hope of redemption. Kwame, seeing the change in Amma and feeling the gradual return of warmth to his heart, found himself helping with the festival preparations. His hands, once folded in resignation, now moved with purpose, crafting intricate masks and tuning traditional instruments for the celebration. On the eve of the festival, the village square was transformed into a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and scents. Drums beat a rhythm that matched the heartbeat of the tribe, and dancers moved with grace, their feet kicking up clouds of dust that sparkled in the fading light. As night fell and the fire in the center of the square crackled to life, the villagers gathered around, their faces illuminated by the flickering flames. The elders led the festivities, their voices strong as they recounted the tales of the ancestors, their narratives weaving the past with the present, reminding all of the cycles of life and the power of the community to overcome adversity. Music and laughter filled the air, the sounds a celebration of all that had been endured and all that had been overcome. In these moments, the villagers found not just enjoyment, but a deep collective healing, their shared experiences and renewed bonds forming the strongest of foundations. Under the vast starlit sky, the festival continued late into the night, the joyous celebration a reflection of the village's journey. A journey marked not by the footsteps of one, but by the synchronized strides of an entire community coming together to uphold the pillars of their culture and the values that defined their existence. As the Festival of Thanks drew to a close, the village settled back into its routine with a renewed sense of unity. The event had not only served as a celebration of the harvest, but also as a testament to the community's resilience and capacity for forgiveness. Now, the echoes of the drums faded into the rhythm of daily tasks, and the laughter of the night became the quiet hum of industrious peace. Kwame found himself at the heart of this renewed spirit, his presence a constant reassurance to those around him. He resumed his role as a craftsman, his workshop a hive of activity. Here, amidst the scent of wood and the curl of shavings, he shaped not just objects but the future, mentoring young apprentices in the art of carving as well as the virtues of patience and precision. Amma, revitalized by her role in the successful festival, began to organize gatherings for the women of the village. These meetings, often held under the cool shade of mango trees, became spaces for sharing stories and skills, from weaving to cooking. Amma's initiative brought a fresh dynamism to the village, empowering many and knitting the women together in a vibrant tapestry of support and solidarity. The trader, whose name was Kojo, continued his efforts to integrate himself back into the community. His journey was marked by small acts of kindness and hours spent in the fields helping to increase the yield. His redemption was a slow process, acknowledged by gradual nods and smiles, his presence at communal events gradually welcomed rather than merely tolerated. As the days warmed into the season of planting, the village fields burgeoned with life, mirroring the blossoming relations within the community. Kwame and Amma took long walks through these fields, their paths intertwined with the green shoots of new crops. These walks were times of quiet reflection and shared dreams, their conversation flowing like the nearby river, sometimes meandering, sometimes rushing, but always moving forward. One afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows over the village, an elder approached Kwame with a proposition. He suggested that Kwame lead a new community project, a workshop space where not only crafts but also life skills could be taught. "Your hands shape wood, but your spirit shapes lives," the elder said, his voice rich with the wisdom of his years. Kwame accepted the challenge with a humility that was the true mark of his character. Planning began in earnest, with villagers of all ages contributing ideas. The project was a canvas, each suggestion a stroke of color adding depth and vibrancy. Meanwhile, Amma's gatherings grew in number and purpose. They became forums for discussing not just household crafts, but also topics of health, education, and community welfare. Women, once hesitant to voice their opinions, now spoke with confidence, their words weaving new patterns of thought and action in the community's fabric. In these gatherings, stories of the past were honored and lessons drawn. The tales told were those of legendary figures and everyday heroes, each narrative a thread in the great tapestry of their culture. These stories reminded them of their roots and the enduring strength derived from unity and mutual respect. As the planting season reached its peak, so too did the sense of accomplishment in Kwame and Amma's hearts. They had traversed a path fraught with obstacles, but with each step taken in forgiveness and each act of inclusion, they had fostered a deeper understanding and a stronger bond, not only between themselves, but within the entire village. The winds of change, once harbingers of turmoil, now brought whispers of hope and renewal, rustling through the leaves and rippling across the fields, singing of resilience, unity, and the enduring power of community. In the heart of the savannah, as the new workshop rose from the earth, its walls fashioned from the red clay that marked the land, the village thrummed with a sense of purpose. Each brick laid was a testament to the unity and collective effort of the villagers, each beam a symbol of their shared aspirations. Kwame, overseeing the construction, felt a profound connection to every hand that mixed mortar, shaped bricks, or carved wood, his leadership fostering a bond of camaraderie among the workers. Simultaneously, Amma's forums evolved into vibrant centers of learning and exchange. With each meeting, the women delved deeper into subjects that touched on various aspects of their lives, from agricultural techniques that could improve their yields to the preservation of their cultural heritage through song and dance. These sessions, once simple gatherings, were now vital threads in the village's cultural quilt, each discussion a stitch binding the community tighter. Children, curious and eager, watched and sometimes helped as the workshop took shape. Kwame, recognizing the spark of potential in their bright eyes, began to formulate plans for youth involvement in the project. He envisioned a space where the young could learn not only crafts, but also the values of teamwork and responsibility. This vision was met with enthusiasm, and soon a program was in place allowing older children to apprentice with craftsmen and women, learning skills that would serve them for life. Kojo, the trader whose past misdeeds had once ostracized him, found a role in this rebirth. His knowledge of trade routes and materials became invaluable as he organized supply chains for the workshop, bringing in quality wood and tools. The respect he earned was hard-won but genuine, reflecting his dedication to restitution and community service. As the walls of the workshop were crowned with a thatched roof, a symbol of completion, the village prepared for a celebration. This event was not just to honor the completion of the building, but to celebrate the spirit of unity that had raised it from concept to reality. Dancers practiced steps that mimicked the flight of birds and the sway of trees, while drummers beat rhythms that mimicked the heartbeat of their land. On the day of the celebration, The air was vibrant with the aroma of cooking from numerous fires where meals were being prepared. Women, adorned in brightly colored fabrics, their laughter a melody on the breeze, added final touches to dishes that were as much a feast for the eyes as for the palate. Men, their voices a robust chorus, arranged the central square where the festivities would unfold. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the sky in hues of purple and gold, the villagers gathered. The new workshop stood at the village's edge, its doors open wide as if embracing all who approached. Kwame and Ama stood side by side, their hands joined, their faces reflecting the soft glow of torchlight that flickered like the gentle fire of their renewed love and respect. Elders led the procession into the celebration, their steps measured, their eyes bright with the joy of witnessing their communities flourishing. They spoke of the past trials and the triumphs, not dwelling on the former, but celebrating the latter, their words weaving through the crowd, lifting spirits and strengthening hearts. The drums started slowly, their rhythm a gentle summoning. As more villagers joined, the tempo increased, mirroring the pulse of the community's heart. Dancers moved with grace, their bodies telling stories of drought and rain, of harvest and celebration, their movements a tribute to the earth and its bounty. Under the starlit sky, as the village celebrated, there was a profound sense of harmony, a melody composed by many voices and hands, played out in the heartland of their world. The night air, filled with the scent of food, the sound of laughter, and the beauty of shared rhythms, wrapped the village in a cloak of contentment, the community a beacon of light in the vastness of the savannah. As the celebration ebbed, the vibrant echoes of drum beats lingering in the cool night air, life in the village settled into a new rhythm. With the workshop now a hive of activity, its doors open to all who wish to learn or lend their skills. The daily buzz was one of creativity and shared purpose. Kwame, overseeing the artisans and learners, found great satisfaction in the eager faces and busy hands, the workshop a crucible where raw talent was shaped into skillful craft. Ama's forums, too, continued to flourish under the broad canopy of an ancient fig tree, the meetings becoming a cornerstone of village life. Topics ranged from healthcare to education, each discussion enriching the community's knowledge and cohesiveness. Women of all ages brought their insights and experiences, weaving a network of support that transcended the boundaries of their gatherings. One afternoon, as a gentle breeze whispered through the grasslands, a visitor arrived in the village. She was a storyteller from a distant community, her reputation as a weaver of tales preceding her. Her presence in the village was like a fresh breeze stirring the leaves, bringing with it an air of anticipation and excitement. The elders, recognizing the value of her visit, invited her to share her stories at a special gathering under the moonlight. As night fell and a full moon rose, casting a silvery glow over the land, the villagers assembled in the central square, their faces illuminated by the gentle firelight of torches planted in the earth. The storyteller, a regal figure with a voice both commanding and tender, began her tale. It was a story of a distant land where rivers ran silver with fish and the trees bore fruit as bright as the sun. Her words painted pictures in the minds of her listeners, her narrative not just an escape but a bridge, connecting the essence of human experience across lands and cultures. As she spun her tales, the children sat enraptured, their imaginations alight with visions of mythical creatures and heroic deeds. The adults listened just as intently, finding in her stories the universal themes of challenge, bravery, and hope. Her visit, though brief, sowed seeds of inspiration throughout the community, reminding them of the power of words to transport and transform. In the days that followed, the impact of her stories was evident. Kwame incorporated new themes into his teachings at the workshop, urging his apprentices to think beyond the functional beauty of their crafts to imbue them with the stories they had heard. Ama, inspired by the tales of strong communities, initiated a project to document the village's own history, a collective memory that would serve as a legacy for future generations. Kojo found a particular resonance in the storyteller's visit. The tales of redemption and forgiveness mirrored his own path and fortified his resolve to continue his contributions to the village. His work, once a means to an end, had become an integral part of his identity and his redemption. The workshop, under Kwame's guidance, began producing pieces that were more than just utilitarian objects. They were artifacts of cultural expression, each bearing the mark of the maker and the spirit of the village. These crafts spoke not only of the skill of the artisans, but of the collective spirit of the community, a spirit enriched by the shared experience of stories under the Savannah moon. As the seasons changed, bringing rains to nourish the earth and sun to warm the growing crops, the village continued to thrive, its pulse strong and its voice clear, a chorus of life and learning under the vast African sky. As the village embraced the changing seasons, the air filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the promise of abundant harvests. Life in the community thrived under the nurturing hands of its members, each individual's efforts woven into the collective tapestry of growth and prosperity. Kwame's workshop became a landmark of innovation and tradition where ancient crafts met new ideas. The walls, adorned with vibrant tapestries and intricate carvings, told stories of the village's past and present, a visual celebration of their culture. Here, young artisans honed their skills under Kwame's watchful eye, each day adding layers of knowledge and mastery to their craft. Ama, inspired by the storyteller's visit, advanced her project to document the village's history. With the help of the elders and other villagers, she gathered tales of old, each story a thread in the fabric of their shared heritage. This project not only preserved the village's legacy, but also strengthened the bonds among its members, as they rediscovered the roots of their identity. The workshops and forums, once separate streams of activity, began to intertwine. Ama organized a series of collaborative sessions where artisans and storytellers came together to explore how tales could be represented through crafts. These collaborations resulted in pieces that were rich in symbolism and narrative, crafts that held stories within their forms. One day, as the sun reached its zenith, casting short shadows on the earth, a festival of arts and crafts was inaugurated in the village. Artisans from neighboring communities were invited, turning the event into a vibrant exchange of techniques and stories. Stalls adorned with pottery, textiles, and wooden sculptures filled the village square, each display a palette of colors and textures. Kojo took on the role of coordinator for this festival, his organizational skills ensuring that the event unfolded smoothly. His transformation from a solitary trader to a community leader was complete, his past transgressions forgiven by many as they witnessed his dedication to the village's welfare. The festival buzzed with energy as visitors from afar mingled with local residents. Musicians played melodies that danced in the air, their tunes a backdrop to the chatter and laughter of the crowd. Children ran between stalls, their delight infectious, while elders shared stories with guests, their voices carrying the wisdom of many years. During the festival, a competition was held to showcase the best of local craftsmanship. Kwame's apprentices entered their finest works, their creations a testament to their skills and their teachers' guidance. The competition was not just a contest of talent, but a celebration of learning and artistic expression. As evening approached, the festival culminated in a ceremony where the winners were announced. The air was thick with anticipation as names were called out, each announcement met with cheers and applause. The winners were awarded not just with prizes, but with recognition that affirmed their hard work and creativity. As the stars began to twinkle in the twilight sky, the festival wound down. Villagers and guests alike shared in the joy of a day well spent, their hearts full of the art and soul of the community. The night ended with a feeling of accomplishment and camaraderie, the village not just a place on a map, but a beacon of cultural richness and communal spirit. Under the watchful eyes of the elders and the careful stewardship of its leaders, the village continued to flourish, each season bringing new opportunities for growth and expression, each event a stitch in the vibrant quilt of their collective life. As the festival's echoes waned, the sense of accomplishment and unity lingered in the village, weaving its members closer with bonds strengthened through shared experiences and mutual successes. The artisans, buoyed by the festival's spirit, returned to their crafts with renewed vigor and inspiration, each piece they created now infused with the essence of their collective heritage and individual artistry. In the days that followed, the workshop under Kwame's guidance began to experiment with new materials and techniques. The integration of modern tools with traditional methods sparked a creative revolution among the younger artisans, who brought fresh perspectives and innovative ideas to the age-old crafts. Ama, her project to document the village's history nearing completion, organized a series of presentations where the elders narrated their stories alongside visual aids created by local artists. These sessions became a cornerstone for the village's cultural evenings, attracting not just the young but people of all ages who wished to reconnect with their roots and learn from the past. Meanwhile, the forums that Amma hosted grew in scope and significance. Realizing the potential of these gatherings to foster broader societal change, she invited experts from various fields to share their knowledge with the community, turning the forums into platforms for education and empowerment. Topics range from sustainable farming techniques to renewable energy solutions, aligning the village's traditions with contemporary challenges and opportunities. As the new planting season approached, the village fields were tilled with more than just crops. They were seeded with innovations learned through the forums and workshops. Solar panels, installed by a team led by Kojo, now dotted the landscape, providing energy to power new irrigation systems. This blending of the old and the new, the traditional and the modern, marked a significant evolution in the village's approach to self-sustainability and ecological stewardship. One evening, as a gentle breeze stirred the leaves of the baobab tree, the village gathered to celebrate the launch of Amma's completed history project. The compilation of stories, beautifully bound and illustrated, was unveiled under the twinkling stars, a testament to the village's rich past and its aspirations for the future. Kwame, seeing the impact of their efforts, proposed the expansion of the workshop into a regional crafts center, a place where artisans from various communities could come together to learn and share. This idea was met with enthusiastic approval, and plans were quickly set into motion to create a hub that would not only preserve the art forms, but also promote economic growth and cultural exchange. The children of the village, inspired by the stories and the visible growth around them, started their own projects. Guided by their elders, they embarked on a youth-led initiative to beautify the village, planting trees and flowers that would provide both shade and beauty in the years to come. As the seasons changed, the village not only adapted but thrived, its roots deep in the soil of tradition, its branches reaching out to embrace innovation. The elders, once wary of change, now saw the fusion of the old and the new as a way to perpetuate their heritage and secure a resilient future for the next generations. With each new dawn, the village awoke to possibilities that were once mere whispers on the wind, each day a step toward a future where the wisdom of the past met the challenges of the present, creating a legacy that would echo through the ages. As the new day dawned over the village, the horizon stretched wide and inviting, painted with the hues of promise. The community, now a vibrant tapestry of tradition and innovation, buzzed with the energy of dawn's possibilities. The regional crafts center, envisioned by Kwame, had become a reality, its foundation stones laid on the outskirts of the village, each one a symbol of the community's commitment to growth and cultural preservation. The center opened its doors to artisans from neighboring villages and beyond, creating a bustling hub of activity where knowledge was exchanged as freely as the market goods. Workshops filled with the sounds of creativity, chisels carving wood, pots spinning on wheels, and looms clicking in rhythm. Here, the heritage of craftsmanship was not just preserved, but revitalized, infused with new ideas and techniques that bridged generations. Amma's history project, now a cherished volume in each household, served as a beacon of the village's identity and a reminder of the collective journey. Schools used her book as a teaching tool, allowing children to explore their history and understand the roots of their culture. This grounding in the past empowered them to look forward with confidence, knowing where they came from and envisioning where they could go. Kojo, fully reintegrated into the community, managed the logistical aspects of the craft center. His redemption story, marked by genuine efforts to contribute to the village's welfare, inspired many who struggled with their own paths. He often shared his experiences with visitors, his story a powerful testament to the community's capacity for forgiveness and transformation. As the planting season gave way to harvest, the village celebrated another year of bounty. Fields burgeoned with crops, thanks to the innovative farming techniques discussed in Amma's forums. The harvest festival was richer than ever, a joyous affair that drew people from all over the region. It was a celebration of not only the season's yield, but also the fruits of communal efforts and shared aspirations. During the festival, Kwame and Amma stood together, watching the community revel in the abundance of life and spirit. They shared a quiet moment, reflecting on the changes that had swept through their lives in the village. Their relationship, once strained to the brink, had blossomed anew, strengthened by trials and healed through mutual respect and understanding. That evening, under the vast canopy of stars, the village elders convened a special ceremony to honor those who had contributed significantly to the community's growth. Kwame, Ama, and Kojo were acknowledged not just for their individual achievements, but for their roles in fostering a community that valued both roots and wings. The ceremony concluded with the planting of a new baobab tree near the craft center, a symbolic gesture that signified the planting of future legacies. The entire village participated, each person adding a handful of soil to the base of the sapling, their actions a promise to future generations. As the night deepened, the community gathered around a large fire, sharing stories and songs that resonated with the spirit of their ancestors. The fire's warm glow cast light on their faces, each one a story of resilience, hope, and endless possibilities. The village, once a simple cluster of huts on the savannah, had transformed into a beacon of cultural richness and communal strength. As the fire burned down to embers, the villagers returned to their homes, hearts full and spirits nourished by the knowledge that their legacy would thrive, woven into the fabric of the land and carried on the whispers of the wind.